IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Page 10. My name is Abbas. I'm your host. We're recording on the 12th of June 2023. On today's episode, we talk about the brand new, spanking new Apple product called the Vision Pro. We talk about the communal incidents that have been happening in Uttarakhand. And we'll talk about the controversial ad campaign by Zomato. All this and more. And joining me for this episode from Delhi is our regular panelist, Meghnad. Hi, Meghnad.
Hello, Abbas.
And returning to the studio is a comedian and fellow content creator right here at IVM, Niveditha Prakasam. Hi, Niveditha.
Hey, Abbas, what's up?
All right. So, without further ado, Niveditha, let's get to the spanking new, futuristic thing that we have been exposed to over the last week, which is the
Yeah.
Apple Vision Pro. Please tell us what it's about and take it away.
The Apple Vision Pro launched. It didn't launch, but they had an unveiling of it on June 5th
Mhm,
last week.
mhm.
And I remember I didn't know anything about this before it happened. I remember all of the tech reviewers tweeting like these anticipatory tweets, like, "Oh, it's happening!" And I was like, "What is happening? What is gonna?" And then we found out it was the Vision Pro, and I didn't expect it, but it is a really beautiful piece of technology,
Uh-huh.
and it's futuristic. It's everything we've all dreamed of as millennials when we were like under 10 years old, when we were watching those Back to
Finally,
the
we're getting it
Future.
in our
Oh
30s.
man, it's finally happening. Now all we have to wait for are the flying cars. But honestly, it does seem like it's really, really, really sophisticated technology, because
Mhm,
we do have virtual reality already
mhm.
with the Oculus and everything.
So
It's
tell us
pretty
what
popular.
exactly is the product.
Oh, sorry.
Hmm.
The product is an augmented reality piece, eye eyewear sort of thing,
Right.
and it basically it has a lot of features. The display is exactly like your iPhone
Mm-hmm.
display, which I thought it could be better. I guess they'll improve it in the future. But it also has this amazing way of watching any kind of movie or TV show that you want to watch. You can use your fingers to tap, so it has an eye tracking technology where you just look at the apps that you want to, select, and then
Uh-huh.
tap your finger to select it,
Mm-hmm.
and everything opens. It also does have a really good grip around your head. That's what they say. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have the
We've
Vision
not
Pro.
tried it
I've
yet.
watched like a million reviews to be able to tell you what exactly it is, and nobody's gonna have to be able to get it until
Right.
like next year or
Right.
something.
Right.
They're launching only next
Also,
year,
because it's
but until then,
expensive.
it's
Oh
so expensive. It's
yes.
$3,500, $599,
Yeah.
$3,600,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is probably not. It's not going to be a mass consumption product. Obviously, only the rich people are going to have it. But that's fair. If you have a rich friend, you'll get a probably watch something with the Vision Pro, I guess.
Right.
But it is like, I get why it's so expensive. It really is above every other virtual reality piece that you have in the
Mm-hmm.
market. It's not even close because it's
Why?
not
Why?
virtual reality.
You were comparing it with the other the other visors that we've had so far, and
Yeah.
so why would you say this is a cut above all of them?
Yeah, because it's, first of all, it's not virtual reality, it's
Right.
augmented reality,
Right.
which so virtual reality, the difference is that the screen is basically all through your eyesight. Like,
Right.
that's virtual
Hmm.
reality. You're just looking at a screen, but it's right on your eyes.
Right. You wear it
Augmented
and go
reality,
into another world. Essentially,
yeah,
is
you
virtual
basically,
reality.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and which is quite annoying if you think about it, like, because it gives you vertigo and stuff, you feel dizzy.
Right.
That's my biggest issue with virtual reality. But
Right.
augmented reality is so much better, because you get to project a screen like wherever you want, like on a
Right.
wall or like in the air in front of you. You get to decide how much distance you want between you and the screen.
Hmm.
You get to immerse yourself completely in it if you want. Like, you're I think Apple has it in their ad where this woman is
Hmm.
watching a movie in the flight, and then she decides to like just get completely immersed in it. So it just like gives you
Yeah.
like this immersive
Yeah.
effect where you're watching only the movie and you
Right.
can't see anything else.
So if I had to give a rough comparison, it's like in the Iron Man movies when you see Tony Stark move around screens with his hands.
It's
It's
every
pretty similar to
sci-fi
that.
movie we've ever watched.
Right.
Avatar, Iron Man, Back to the Future.
Right.
Every futuristic movie we've ever seen has always like predicted this kind of technology, I feel like.
So far,
Yeah.
whatever you've seen, and I think the Vision Pro was given to a few tech reviewers to try out for
Yeah,
a half hour or so. So
yeah, yeah.
we are judging our
Oh, all
impressions
of
based on that.
yeah.
So far, what has been the one thing for you that's totally blown your mind? You were like, oh my god, I can't believe this is actually happening.
I honestly, as somebody who really likes to watch movies and TV
Right.
shows, I think the technology where you get to just project it like it's a theater in front of
Right.
you is amazing, and also the eye tracking technology is
Mm,
pretty
Hmm.
pretty awesome. Like
mm.
it's not very easy to do that, I'm guessing, but they've done it and it's a good job done. So those two things I think stand out with the
Okay.
Vision Pro.
Okay.
Also recording video. So
Yeah.
apparently you can record video with the Vision Pro
Right.
as if it's happening right in front of you. Now
Hmm.
there's a downside to it because like every amazing moment that you're recording, you're wearing this big ass
Glasses.
headgear
Yeah. Yeah.
while you're doing it. So I don't think it's the most ideal way, but it's still nice that you get to record things and then watch it later as if it's happening right now,
Right.
because it is a
Mm,
3D recording that
mm,
you're
mm,
getting from
mm.
the Vision Pro.
But
But
if I can say,
Sure.
yeah,
it's supremely expensive, like
Mm.
yeah, it is
3,500.
very
But what when launching, they said that this is a new revolution in spatial computing.
yeah.
What that essentially means is that apart from the things that you told me about movie watching, etc., one thing which I struck out for me was that whole thing where they were looking at a computer screen, their MacBook, and then
Mhm.
they looked up and the
Yeah.
screen just became like this biggest screen on a wall, and then they were basically like, your MacBook is now synced to your thing,
Yeah.
Vision Pro, and you're on the same ecosystem. So
Mm,
essentially you're working while on your laptop while not really looking at the screen. So
mm.
it's like this whole ecosystem thing that they're doing, which Apple always does.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you want to use this Vision Pro, you need to be a part of the ecosystem,
Yeah.
right? Which is like, you need an iPhone, you need all the other things.
Mm.
The other thing that was struck me was, it's very heavy. Apparently, it's made of steel and metal,
aluminium,
basically.
they said.
Yeah, metal.
Yeah,
Sorry, and the other ones like Oculus, etc., are made of plastic. So
yeah.
Mm.
if you wear it for a long time, I don't think people will wear it for a long time because it's too heavy and it seems very cumbersome right now. Of course, aage jaake that they'll evolve the products and make it sleeker and better.
Mm.
But at the same time, right now, I think this is like a super experimental version that they've just launched to create hype.
Hmm.
But I don't think it's going to be useful. What is the use case they're trying to solve here exactly? Like watching movies in theaters,
Oh yeah. So
gaming.
see, uh, gaming,
Gaming is one of them,
gaming is
yes.
one of
Hmm.
them.
And I think they're just keeping up with the whole Google Glass and these other VR devices that
All of which
are
failed,
available.
by the way. That's what I'm saying.
Uh, but there is still a conscious, like I still keep seeing these concert experiences and these stuff like
Have
where
you
you
have
you
you ever been to one? Like one of these virtual
No, I've
conferences
actually
thingies?
never tried any of these on, but I checked out a recreation of that on in a YouTube video,
Uh,
and yeah, it
like
seems
a
pretty
garib
choppy.
aadmi. We are garib aadmi talking
Yes,
about Amir aadmi technology.
it seemed pretty choppy because the version I saw, it's like if you move your head, so the software takes a while to fill in the blocks. So if I'm at a
Yeah, yeah.
concert and I'll
Yeah.
suddenly look up, it's
You will
blank
see
and the
your home.
blocks will fill up the sky, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but then I'm pretty sure that will get better, right? We're still in the very initial stages of this
Hmm.
technology.
Yeah, honestly, like I think it's good that the headset is heavy because then it's like it promotes isolation. Like if you're the kind of person,
Wow.
because it's a single piece that you can just wear. Like, can you imagine how many people will not get out of their house if they have
you
something
you
like
think
this
an
that would
Indian
like
in an Indian
last
family
24
in an
hours?
Indian family, your mother and father will not just yank it away from your eyes.
Think about this. It used to happen maybe 10 years ago that your parents used to yank stuff out of your hands.
Hmm.
Now they have their own phones that they're on all
That's
the
true.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a matter of time when everybody in the family has one of these
Right.
and then just does not talk to each other like for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
You just don't,
Look at
you never
the
have a
joy
dating
on Niv's
experience.
face. And that's
This
why
is
she
not
loves this
joy, it's
product.
skepticism. I'm just saying this is a bad thing for people that like to be alone like me. It's horrible. Like because literally everything you do on
Mhm.
the Vision Pro is a
Mhm.
solo experience.
I'm guessing that will change, right? I mean,
Yeah,
with Facebook introducing Meta and saying that we'll make a community in this
Sure, but
virtual world.
you know what? That's another issue with the
Mm,
Vision Pro.
mm.
You can't FaceTime and see the
Yeah,
person.
I wanted to come to that. So tell us what happens to the people who are talking to the person wearing the Vision Pro.
Yeah, so the Vision Pro does have a camera, but it's forward facing,
Yeah.
right? So you can't look at yourself, obviously. So now what the Vision Pro does is scan your face, and like you're in a video game or something, it projects your face and your facial expressions to the person on the other side of the FaceTime.
Yeah.
Right. So now when you're FaceTiming someone, you're not seeing them, you're seeing an
An
AI
avatar
version of them. Yeah.
You're seeing
A
an
digital
emoji.
Yes.
Basically,
Yeah, you're
that's
seeing
what
an
it is.
emoji of their face,
Yeah.
but a little more realistic emoji of their face, and
Yeah.
that just takes the personal like connection off, because you're just seeing some like random. It's not personal at all. I don't like that feature at all.
There was this
Um,
one point in their video which made a lot of people sad, and me too. Was this dad who was just looking at his kids playing, and
yeah,
like he was just like it's like recording
recording
it,
the whole
and then
thing.
later watching the whole thing again as if he was in the 3D space. I'm like, yeah,
Okay,
divorce ho
but
gaya
I
kya?
gotta
Iska kya
say,
hua exactly? It's like
I know the skepticism behind this, but I want to be positive and say, throughout our lives and generations, we've always had a device where somebody
Yeah.
had to stand away and take a picture or
Yeah,
something.
how
That's
different is it
true.
from a handy
Yeah,
cam
it's not
or
very
a cell
different. Like
phone?
I remember they were saying, "Oh, remember? Can you imagine the child seeing their dad wearing that thing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than like your dad standing with a camera and trying to take a picture, right? But it doesn't come right.
Yeah.
But you only find out like after the pictures are developed or something.
My
back
dad
in
is
the
better than
90s.
your dad because he has a Vision Pro.
Yeah, now future dads won't have that problem because it's like your eyesight. How can you go wrong? You're
But
just
this,
looking at everything. You're not even missing out. It's like behind a camera, you're kind of missing out because you have to like focus and make sure the pictures come right. But here
Yeah.
you don't have to focus at all. You're just like
But
in it.
Niv, the kids are looking at this man with like these giant glasses on his face. It's
Big
like, oh,
deal.
sorry,
So you
one
have
thing.
like a camera and stuff,
Oh,
and that's
one.
covering your face too.
I'll tell you another creepy thing with this. Okay,
Hmm.
again, clearly I'm not a fan. So the thing is that so it's very creepy. They have like an LCD screen in front, which is an LCD screen which you can look at. So you can turn a dial, which
Mhm.
which Niv described like the movie, fading out
Yeah.
again. So if you turn the
Immersive
dial up
screen.
and you want to see more of the environment, the LCD screen actually shows a video of your eyes. So basically they're
Oh.
looking, yeah, so it's basically a screen where you're seeing a video of your eyes as if they're watching the thing,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
that happens. Yeah.
And I thought that was so bizarre. It's like
No, but
oh, and like my eyes just turn on suddenly.
I'll tell you why that happens. All right, so there's a good reason for why
Did
Apple
Apple
did
pay
this.
you for this? Why are you making that argument?
No, because I really like this. I really
Okay.
like the
Okay,
fact
good.
that this happens. All
Sure.
right. So basically, when you're in so there are
Immersive, yeah.
different like patterns that come up on that screen that he's talking
Okay.
about. All right.
Okay.
It's usually opaque and you can't see the eyes.
Hmm.
But if somebody taps you on the shoulder and is like, "Hey, Niveditha,"
Hmm.
and you turn around and it's just that weird stuff floating around,
Hmm.
that's weird, right? So you turn it around
True.
again, your eyes come up. Now the person knows that you're actually listening to them and you can see them also because your eyes show up in that little screen. And then the person is like, "Oh, okay, they're listening to what I'm
The
saying."
eyes are there.
The
They
eyes
can
are there.
believe.
Yeah.
But no, you know what I'll do? I'll run a ticker here, like a news ticker. It's like just like people will be looking at me and reading the news. Like, like I think that is completely unnecessary, to be honest. The
Mhm.
samne wala LCD screen.
Hmm.
I think it's a bit pointless. But the other thing which I like
But
is
what would you put there if it's not for that LCD screen? Like, you have to cover everything with something.
it's just black. I mean, why do you need to see the person's
Yeah.
eyes? The person is immersed in whatever.
No,
Yeah,
I
why
like
do
it.
we?
Why would you not want to see? If somebody is looking at you with that, you were saying how creepy it would be for the dad, like that's taking a video. Well, the child will see the dad's eyes through that thing.
No, see, we are all wearing headphones
Fair
right now. Right now, if
Yeah.
I'm listening to music, someone taps me on the shoulder. I literally just have to do this.
Yeah, but
I have to be
isn't
like,
that
what?
great that you
Can't they
don't
just?
have to take off your headphones and you can just listen to the person without
Yeah,
having to do
Niv
that
will just do the
extra thing?
dial thing. She will just turn down the dial. Her eyes will appear and like, "Huh, what's up?" And then I'll talk to like creepy eyes, and then she'll go back and think about it when the eyes go away. Yeah, okay, and then she turns it down and the eyes disappear, and then she's back. It's like,
it is
What
it's
if
a
you're
good
sitting?
communication method.
What if you're sitting in the dark and only your eyes light up? That's creepy
That's
as hell.
what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who cares? Nobody. Who else is gonna? Okay, I guess you're gonna have a partner next to you or something, but but so what? Your partner knows you have that
So
shit on.
creepy.
Also, if you're like rich enough to have this,
Hmm.
I don't think your partner has a problem. Anybody has a problem. They're like, oh yeah, this rich person has
Yeah.
this rich item
Imagine
in the
getting
house.
up and looking next to you, and there are like these two creepy eyes just looking at you.
Yeah.
It's like, "Arey, you're up.
I
What
feel
is
like
up?
you guys are
Did you have
just
a
not
bad dream?"
accepting. You're all being boomers who are not accepting
Wow.
technology.
Okay.
Oh, please.
Personal
Please.
attacks. Okay.
No, but the other thing I like about this, which I saw, was that whole tap thing. Now
Other thing
that
you
is
like
crazy.
about this is the first thing you like about this. This is the first thing you're
Okay,
saying.
the one
Oh,
thing
I
I like
like about.
about this.
What's the
Why?
tap thing?
So basically, so as Niv pointed out, you look at things. So
Hmm.
there are cameras
Yeah.
inside which are tracking
Yeah.
your eye movement.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Creepy, but okay. And then so you look at things, you look at icons, and they get selected wherever you're looking, and then you just do like tap with your fingers, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a click,
Yeah.
right? So and so like I was watching some videos where people were doing like either udhar ke taps also, and then it was picking it up. And then somewhere like unconsciously, I sometimes do like hand fingery movements, and I ended up tapping on things because I was
Hmm.
looking at things. And so that is actually quite crazy. Like the amount of sensors that it is
Oh yeah. That's
able to see your hands everywhere, and also the
it's
eye
crazy.
movement thing. So
Yeah.
you don't need anything else. Also, it's a
Pretty
computer
insane.
by itself, so it's a
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
device. So that's also a thing. And another thing is that Apple has invented a new chip which is in this to make this work, which is a different sort of chip. I don't remember the name.
Mhm.
And they have filed about 5,000 patents to make this
R2 or
happen.
something. M2 and R1. Oh, M2 and
M2
R1.
and
Oh, that's what
R1.
you just said. Yeah.
Yeah,
Our very intelligent producer Nikhil
yeah,
just told us what the
Ca-
chips are.
can
yeah.
I just make a larger philosophical argument against it? Is that
Hmm.
That I will be defending.
yeah, that you should defend. Is that now that you have the uh, ability to capture 3D memories like in real time and then relive them as if you were there?
Yeah.
Wouldn't this just make things a little difficult for people to move on in their lives? Let's say they lose someone really close to them. Now you have almost lifelike recreations of them in your life. Like, or you've had a great experience. You just might want to relive that experience again and again. You'll forget living in the real world, wouldn't you?
But
I thought
Abbas,
about this.
it's
Yeah.
super heavy with 2 hours of battery, so you will be forced to come back to the real world because ek to your neck will hurt, right? You will be like, oh my god, I can't live in this world anymore. You'll take it off. Otherwise, your battery will run out. So either
Hmm.
I'm
way, you're back.
no, but you're right. It
Hmm.
you just have to like pay extra for therapy. I'm joking.
Which clearly you can afford if you have a $36,000
Exactly. Like you're probably already a pretty sad person. Anyway, no, that's
Oh wow.
I thought
Okay.
about the same thing, that it
Yeah.
is too immersive. It
Hmm.
is so immersive that it can distract you from your real life, or you
Hmm.
might get caught up. Like not even like, oh, you loved someone, so you're rewatching their
Hmm.
videos. You
Hmm.
could get addicted to
Yeah,
TV.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
imagine,
That's true.
yeah, because you're not interested in real life. It already happens. Like gamers do it already. Like
Yeah,
they
I
like
do it
video
all the
games
time. You're correct.
more than
I
the
do it
real
all the
world.
time.
That stuff
But
is, but that's just gonna get easier to do. That's all. Like I don't know. We already have that evil.
Hmm.
It's not new.
Meghnad, you're the only gamer on this panel. I'm
Yeah,
assuming,
Hmm.
are you a hardcore gamer, Niv?
I'm not a
Okay, so
no.
what do you think the effects of this will be on gaming? Because now you can like
Hmm.
interact with things in real life, and something like Pokemon Go, you can literally just go and catch
Yeah.
the Pokemon with
First
Yeah.
of
your
all,
hands.
great, because you only have 2 hours of screen time.
Let's say future versions will have larger larger screen times.
Yeah, by then Meghnad will be too old.
No, so that's the thing. I think the only way someone like me will want to buy this product is if they
Mhm.
release like an excellent game, which I
Yeah,
just have to buy the device to play, which
got it.
which is what happened with me
Gonna
with
happen.
PS4, right? When
Mhm.
they
Mm.
released Grand Theft Auto 5, I
Mhm.
had to get the PS4 because I wanted to play that game, right? Otherwise, I
Right,
wouldn't have gotten it.
right.
So therefore, I think with this, the adaptability, of course, if after it becomes cheaper, many versions
Mhm,
later,
mhm, mhm,
even
mhm.
then, to invest like let's say $1,000 or whatever it is. Even that's expensive.
Yeah.
So I will need like that compelling app/game to basically be a part of this whole thing.
Right,
Otherwise,
right.
I won't touch it, right? I mean, and that's what I think. Like there will be a game at some point on this
Mhm.
device, which will be like
Mhm.
a breakaway hit, and then people will be like, "Oh shit, मेरे को ये खेलना है," and then they'll end up buying things like these.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's going to happen sooner than we think, honestly. But
I
because
agree.
when the Google Glass came out, that was ahead of its time, right? That happened too
Hmm.
early. The technology was
It
not as
failed though.
sophisticated as it is. It failed because it was ugly, also. It didn't have the aesthetic. It's true. It was an
Brutal.
ugly device. It was an ugly device. It was way ahead of its time. People weren't interested in like having things come ahead of them. Like, and it was a daily thing. You could walk on the streets with it. This
Yeah,
is not like that. You have to sit in your office
But this
space
is
or your
precisely
home.
like that, right? Because it's AR, you can still see your
Sure,
surroundings.
but no one
I don't
like
think
it's
anybody's
heavy,
walking
it's
around
not.
on the streets with this.
Let's say
I don't
Google
think so.
Maps.
With this,
If
yeah,
you,
I don't
if
see
you,
people.
if you can literally follow your maps on your eyes while walking.
Yeah, but you got to think about how Apple is advertising it also. When Google
Mm.
Glass came out, they advertised it as something that you could wear all day
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
walk around with.
Mm.
Apple is not advertising this as
Correct.
something like
Yeah,
that. It's
true.
saying you can sit in a flight and wear it, you can sit in your
Yeah.
home and wear it in your office, but they're not saying that
Yeah,
you
there
can go
were
on a subway with this on your head.
there were
Yeah.
no visuals of people walking and wearing
Yeah.
it and walking it.
Mm.
So last thing about this, so the launch is somewhere early next year, and apparently the time, I mean, they have announced the launch date because they want other apps also to come on board. Right now, from all the demos that we've seen, it's
Yeah.
only the Apple apps that you can access through the Vision Pro.
Vision
But
Pro, yeah.
hopefully by early next year, some like Netflix or like I was going to say Hotstar, but not Hotstar, whatever. Hulu is going to come on
Yeah.
board and become a part of this. But yeah, interesting times. I think
Geo
it's going to take
Cinema.
off. Geo
Geo Cinema.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
need
you
Geo
know what?
Cinema on that.
Honestly,
For all you know.
it's not about the device, it's about the technology for me.
Yeah.
Because the device, it will come and go, right? It's just a product.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've come so far in making such advancements in AR, I think in the next 10-15 years there's going to be a lot. Like now everyone's going to want to
Exactly,
get a
yeah.
piece of this.
I think
So
when they
that's, I
launched
think, yeah.
when they launched the Apple Watch, people were like, "Who's
Mhm.
gonna wear an Apple Watch
Mhm.
now? Everybody wears
Yeah,
it."
it picked up.
Mhm.
I remember when the iPhone was launched, people were like, people already have iPods. Why will they need the iPhone? But then everybody got it. So I think
Mm.
it's gonna go the same
No,
way.
not
Yep.
more than so. Everybody didn't have it, so that's, I think, a differentiation. So like, of course, like Apple had its own, which are expensive, but then
Mhm.
like other companies saw how successful it is and like
Yeah.
copied it and then made
Correct.
it cheaper. So I
Yeah.
feel like the patents that they filed, 5,000 of them, of course they did it because they don't want anybody to steal this amazing technology that they have launched in the market, right? But of course,
Yeah.
Chinese companies don't give a shit about American
Yeah.
patents, and of
Yeah.
course India doesn't give a shit about importing things from China. So
Yeah.
we will have something fantastic in the next year, or something Vivo
Next decade,
or
I'm
like
guessing.
Oppo or
Yeah.
someone will get it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but the technology is really good, and I'm excited to see what happens in the next decade with this AR stuff.
All right, cool. Thanks for that, Niv. We'll all be looking forward. Maybe one day we'll be doing this show wearing our Apple Vision Pro devices and talking to each other in our avatars rather than real life.
I hate
And then
that feature.
the viewers will be watching us as well,
Yes.
in their
Yes.
Vision Pros with like whatever.
Anyway, at this point, we'll take a short break. In case you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and check out the other shows on this particular channel and podcast feed, which are ELI 10 and How to Citizen. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I'll tell you a little bit about a controversial ad campaign that Zomato did. We'll see you on the other side of this break. Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Saris Says, Saris is joined by celebrity photographer Avinash Gowarikar. They talk about his career and how Amir and Salman Khan played a huge part in it. They also go head to head over their cricket knowledge of the West Indian squad of the early 80s, Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, and many more legends. On Anish Thing, Anish celebrates 50 episodes of his show. To mark this milestone episode, he takes us through some of the best conversations on the show so far. And on The Habit Coach, Ashton shares how one can cultivate the habit of stillness when there is chaos in life. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcasts.com. We have some exciting stuff for you. Follow us on social media via IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, please spread the word. Tell your friends and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Cash Free Payments and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible. And we're back on page 10 with me, Abbas, Meghnad, and Niveditha. So, over the last week, Zomato ran an ad campaign which was pretty controversial, and it was taken down within a few hours of them launching it. The ad campaign was for the World Environment Day, and it featured Aditya Lakhia, who you might remember from the film Lagan, who played Kachra. So he's reprising in the ad. He's reprising in a way the role of Kachra, and the whole tagline is about recycling. So their whole thing is that हम कचरे को recycle करेंगे. But the way they used to depict is then we see Kachra in various poses and depicting himself as various objects which are made of plastic. Now, when the ad was uploaded on YouTube, it garnered a lot of attention online because Kachra, the overwhelming, or rather the symbolism of Kachra from the 2001 movie Lagan, was that he's an untouchable. He's supposed to be a Dalit character,
Hmm.
and in this ad, 22 years later, you're literally using Kachra as an object to be used by people.
Mm.
And the idea of kachra, which literally in Hindi translates to garbage,
Hmm.
is being will be used to recycle. And the analogy being made there was that you're using a Dalit character literally as an object to be used. So you're in a way regressing the idea of what the character played. And Zomato took down the ad and they put out a tweet which wasn't exactly an apology. So I'll read out the statement that they put out. Zomato's tweet reads: On World Environment Day, our intent was to spread awareness about the potential of plastic waste and benefits of recycling in a humorous way. Unintentionally, we may have hurt the sentiments of certain communities and individuals. We have taken down the video. So there's no sorry or apology here. I was very surprised by the use of the word we may have hurt the sentiments of
Hmm.
certain communities. The filmmaker Neeraj Ghewan, who made Masan and who has also made this film called Gili Pucci, which was a part of an anthology series in Netflix, which dealt with the character of a Dalit woman. He put out a tweet saying, Kachra from Lagan was one of the most dehumanized, voiceless depictions of Dalits ever in cinema. Zomato has used the same character and made a repulsive casteist commercial. A human stool? Are you serious? Extremely insensitive.
Hmm.
Aditya Lakhia, who played Kachra, has also responded to this. And I thought his response was also a little iffy. So he says that this proves that I should be more careful in choosing the kind of roles that I do or the characters I portray. But then he followed that up by saying आज के टाइम में कोई भी बस एक ट्वीट डाल देता है तो आपका करियर खत्म हो सकता है. So he even I felt that
Ah.
in a larger perspective, even he did not give kind of the kind of gravitas that this particular issue required. Um, I would like to recommend a article that has been written by Anurag minus Verma, who's on Twitter.
Hmm.
He's written a piece for the print, which we'll link in the description, where he actually has given quite a few examples of how advertising has used casteist sort of messaging to sell products. Like he gives an example of a brand which I think it was a atta maker or something, where their whole idea or the whole tagline was it's untouched by human hands. So why
Hmm.
is and the ad that they used, I think, is that they show a maid kneading dough, and then they compare it with this particular product which does not need the maid to knead the dough,
Mm.
uh, implying that the maid's hands are dirty.
Hmm.
So I remember Meghnad a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, we were talking about the comedy special by Neville Shah on Prime Video,
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
made reservation jokes, and
Hmm.
we talked about how nobody in that hierarchy of Amazon flagged it because it must have passed on the script stage while shooting, while
Hmm.
editing, while promoting, all of that. So a lot of questions being raised here that why did nobody does the Zomato team have no one from a marginalized community, no one who flagged this. And I also think this is a bit of a notion of thinking in Hindi, thinking in English and doing campaigns in Hindi, because they
Hmm. Hmm.
literally clung on to the word kachra, the literal meaning of
Kachra.
kachra,
Yeah.
without uh, taking the social aspect of it. So what do you guys think? Meghnad, you go first, and then we'll
Hmm.
hear from Nivedita.
So one thing I think you touched a little bit on it. So I was reading like this opinion piece. I think Anurag also wrote about this, and I was reading a few threads, Twitter
Hmm.
threads that people have made from the lit communities. They said
Hmm.
that you need to understand how the advertising agency, matlab advertising industry works. So
Right.
MyCa, which is the biggest institute in India, which
Hmm.
essentially creates like the best advertisers, and the companies just absorb them. There is very little representation from the lower caste there, right?
Hmm.
Which is basically, it's a rich institute, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the privilege basically just translates into this. So as you
Right.
said, right, like from the point where you are coming up with an idea like this, someone
Hmm.
must have come up with an idea like this, right? And
Right.
you're like,
Right.
अरे वो लगान का कचरा था ना, उसको ना
Hmm.
हम टेबल बना देते.
Hmm.
See, I mean, it sounds so crude now when I say it,
Right. Right.
but that did happen somewhere in
Hmm.
some room somewhere where people were sitting and they thought it was a
Hmm.
good idea, right?
Hmm.
Nobody objected at that stage. Then it
Hmm.
went to scripting, right? Where, oh, to kachra ko cast karna hai.
Hmm.
And then there are these
Hmm.
like two people. One is actually keeping his foot on the
On
table or
him.
something,
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, he's the table, and someone's
He's
keeping
the
a foot on
table
him.
and someone
Yeah.
is so they had to script that
Yeah.
scene. Again,
Hmm.
nobody took an objection. Then they had to
Hmm.
shoot it. So
Hmm.
that guy was literally doing it, and then this
Yeah.
guy was doing it. Nobody on set basically thought, yeah, that sounds weird, that looks weird. I just
Yeah.
have a weird feeling about this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody did that. Then it went to the edit table.
Hmm.
So like edit table पे कोई तो होगा ना वीडियो वाला जो बोल रहा है कि
Hmm.
यार ये कितना गंदा लग रहा है, क्या
Hmm.
करवा रहे हैं
Hmm.
हमसे.
Hmm.
Then उसके बाद it was released. So it was released, right? Till a
Hmm.
point where it was released, then people
Hmm.
called them out. Then they took it down. And then the
Hmm.
apology. What it shows is that through this entire process, either A, you don't have caste representation,
Yeah.
or B, you have caste representation, but they're too scared to speak up.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Correct.
Again, both things are a problem, right? The
Yeah.
second thing,
Yeah.
I think people don't realize how bad that is, because I've seen
Yeah.
this happen in
Hmm.
places that I've worked, where someone from a marginalized community who has
Hmm.
had experiences which can actually make them give that opinion at that
Hmm.
point of time does
Hmm.
not do so, because then they'll stand out,
Correct.
right? And that is, then they will be looked at with a very different lens, they will be looked
Hmm.
at with a very different eyes, but just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
prejudiced way
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
will be perceived after
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you look at anyone around you who raises issues of gender or marginalization or anyone, they are instantly judged as an activist type,
Hmm.
like an or like a very aggressive, like a radical feminist or
Hmm.
something of
Hmm.
that sort.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that, I think, is the real also an harm, right? Which is,
Right.
someone might have spoken up, but
Hmm.
either they were shut down, or maybe
Hmm.
they were just too scared to speak up.
Hmm.
Either way, right? So yeah, I mean, it's atrocious how something like this could actually be put out.
We aired. Yeah. Niv, any opinions?
I actually agree with the last part that you said. We've seen it time and again that people do say that this is casteist. This has happened every single
Yeah.
production that happens. Someone in the team will be like, this is casteist or
Mm.
something, but it gets ignored because
Correct.
for a very long time, casteism was completely pushed under
Mm.
the rug.
Hmm.
Not for a very long time. Even now, as we can see, people don't take casteism seriously. They don't think it's a real problem. They're like, this
Mm.
happened a long time ago, but
Mm.
it didn't. It's still prevalent, and casteism is
Hmm.
in all of us. It's too much part of our the fabric of this country, to
Hmm.
ignore or to not talk about or to not even address. Like in our country, we call things racist, but they're not racist. I used to call things racist.
Right.
They're not racist. Somebody corrected me recently when I said that a lot of the times when they portray people that are poor or destitute in movies, they
Mhm.
always make them darker or make them
Hmm.
look,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Even in this case, the Kachra is he's disabled. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So they always make them look less than.
Mm,
And I always thought that was a colorism issue, especially in the South,
mm.
because even upper caste people are dark in the
Right,
South,
right.
especially in
Yeah,
Tamil
yeah.
Nadu. Like it's, I always thought it was a colorism issue, but it's
Mm,
not.
mm.
It's all people don't want to be dark because
Mm.
it's associated with being uh
Ugly.
yeah,
Yeah,
marginalized,
Dirty.
also from a
yeah.
marginalized caste.
Mm,
It is
Hmm.
it's a casteist mentality, and we
mm,
all
Hmm.
have it. It's
mm.
in our minds. Most of us can't even fight it because now it's become a preference. It's not
Right,
even, oh, I'm being casteist. It's just you will hide behind your excuse of preference. You'll be like, no,
right.
I prefer
Yeah.
lighter skin. But
Mm,
why do you prefer lighter skin? That
mm,
is the
Hmm.
question. Like, how can you not differentiate between beautiful features,
mhm.
whether it's dark or fair? So this is something that's um also, it's very common that when somebody does ask someone to call something casteist, a lot of people in entertainment and in the media industry hesitate to call it casteist, because unfortunately we're all upper caste in this
Hmm.
industry, and
Right.
the thing about casteism is it villainizes us,
Mm,
and we
Hmm.
are the bad guys, and a lot
mm.
of us don't want to accept that,
Yeah.
so we push it under the rug. It's why Zomato didn't have to apologize, because
Yeah.
the majority of the population online is upper caste. They're not going to say anything
Hmm.
about it.
Mm,
The people that are marginalized are a small group of people that they can easily ignore. They don't contribute to their profits. They're not going to,
Hmm.
they're not going to stop buying from Zomato because this happened. Now, if they had done this to like an upper caste community,
correct.
things would have been
Mm,
different. Like they could have gone to jail for
yeah.
saying
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have said, oh, you said something against our gods,
Mm,
against
mm,
an upper caste
mm,
community,
mm.
and you would have legal actions
Action. Yeah.
that
Hmm.
would
Yeah.
come after you. But nobody cares about the marginalized. It's just how and the
Mm.
entertainment industry is. People are
But you know
scared.
the thing you said, Niveditha, about the apology, which was quite a non-apology, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Why is it that they, like, people like, I mean, not just people, like companies like Zomato or even the ad agency or even the actor who was there, why are they so afraid to admit that this happened out of ignorance, right? So
They're
I
not.
mean,
I don't think they're afraid. They're entitled. People who are upper caste are entitled. They're not afraid. If they were afraid, they
hmm,
would have apologized. The thing is,
fair
there are no
enough,
consequences for casteism because
Right.
there's no one to
fair
impose the
enough.
consequence. There's no one
Mm,
to give the punishment. The people
mm.
who are marginalized don't have enough power to give punishment.
Right.
And casteism is something that people don't even understand. Like a lot of people
Hmm.
do not
I
even
mean,
know.
this is a prime example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
when you say that like nobody in the boardroom rejected this idea, it's because no one knew. Like
Yeah.
for the longest time
Exactly.
in stand up, we used
So
to portray maids in
hmm,
stand up. We
hmm,
didn't know. Comedians had
hmm,
no idea that, like, having to portray domestic workers in skits or sketches is casteist because it's coming from our point of view, which is a casteist point of view. Now, if any comedy had to come from that space, it would have to come from people who were
Yeah.
but
domestic
Yeah.
so
workers.
here's my thing, Niv. So like what you just said, right? So like
Hmm.
comedians were ignorant, right? Then they
Hmm.
were educated, schooled, let's call it. They were schooled on this after they put out like their material. They got
Mm-hmm.
schooled by people who understood these issues. They were
Mm-hmm.
like, this is wrong, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Then comedians basically accepted this. Some of them did, some of them didn't.
Some
Some
of
of
them
them
did. Yeah.
still
Yeah.
continue to do these jokes, but
Yeah.
some of them did. I think a majority did, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fixed themselves, but they also like publicly said this, like right now you are also pointing out the problems with it, right? You came
Mm-hmm.
out
Hmm.
and now you are actually saying that, look, this was a problem, now it's not
Mm-hmm.
because we have become better.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, when
Debatable.
you consider, again, like, I mean, at at least you can say like a some amount of people have stopped doing those jokes, even if they
Yeah.
like didn't
No, but
publicly say
yeah,
it.
they may have stopped, but you need to understand that the logic or the reasoning behind stopping doing those jokes is not, oh, this is casteism. The logic is, I'm going to get into trouble. And if I say this, will I
That's
get into
true.
trouble?
Mm.
You see,
That's true.
because in comedy, there are consequences because there are comedians within the community who will call you out for it.
Mm.
Hmm.
It doesn't work like that in any other industry. See, in comedy, you're vulnerable as an artist because you're a solo artist. If you
Hmm.
say something wrong, it will come back only for you. But when you're a company like Zomato, you don't have one person to blame.
Hmm.
Yeah, there
This
were
is
no boycott
actually
Zomato hashtags because of this.
no, there weren't.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
weren't. And also like there were you have to also like think about how um you know calling out people like the cancel culture which people throw around.
yeah.
So two consequences, right? Which Niv just said. Like one is of course there are some who understood the issue. They said, okay, I was wrong because
Mm,
casteism. I shouldn't do
mm,
this and I should look
mm,
at things with a different lens. So
mm,
reform, right?
mm.
The second thing though is which again Niv pointed out is that they don't understand it, but they are afraid of being cancelled. So therefore they
Right.
don't do it. Right. So
Yeah,
but so
yeah.
in a way they've understood that oh, this is problematic. Right.
Right.
They might know the reason why it's problematic. They might not take the effort of it, but at
Mm-hmm.
the cost of getting cancelled, they will
Mm-hmm.
not do it anyway.
Mm.
Both ways, it's fine with me, to be honest.
Yeah,
Right.
as long
I
as they don't do
guess.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
what
you're
they
right. That's the first step. The first step is
yeah.
that people should be afraid. But
Yeah.
it's very hard to make people afraid of marginalized communities. It's just harder because you don't have any power
But
when you're
so here's the
marginalized.
thing, like that if you apply the same logic to Zomato, right,
Hmm.
which
Mm,
is not being applied here, which should be applied here,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
is that now they will be like, oh shit, we can't make anything on this, so we'll get cancelled, so let's not touch that area at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not touch caste. Like be very careful about it, right? They might not do like an internal ye ki, oh, we recognize caste now and we
Right,
should have,
right.
right, whatever. I don't think at
Yeah,
a corporate level that ever happens,
yeah.
Mm.
realistically speaking. So the consequence of this is that they'll be afraid of getting cancelled, right?
I also would like to mention that Zomato is known for like clever advertising, like their hoardings
Hmm.
and everything. They're taught in MBA schools and everything. So again, this coming from them is doubly more surprising and shocking
Hmm.
because you're known for your acumen of advertising, and you let something like this go.
Which is probably why they're not apologizing because it'll make them look weak. You know, there's a
Yeah,
big thing
Yeah.
in
yeah,
companies where they're like, as much as you can, don't
mm,
apologize because it'll make us look like we
yeah,
did
yeah,
make a mistake.
Yeah.
mm,
And that's what they're trying to avoid
yeah.
by
But
not
again,
apologizing.
like you mentioned, that this because they can afford to do that in this
They can
case.
Hmm.
afford to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
But there
All
is
right.
also a difference between acumen in advertising and
Mm,
messaging and storytelling
mm.
and acumen in social issues, right?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, so if
Absolutely.
you want to use social issues to give out a message, like, for example,
Mm,
the actual message they wanted to give out was recycling,
yeah.
right? Now that's a great message to give out, right?
Right.
Like their app has like like you can choose not to take cutlery, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
choose not to take like
Uh-huh.
non-recyclable packaging, etc., right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Noble cause, very good, green, all the things. The
Mm,
way you decide to tackle that ended up
mm.
crossing with another social issue which you are
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
unaware of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think so that's also a question, right? So when you're dealing with a social issue, there are some issues which you might know about, there are some which you might not know about. When you go into that territory, you get screwed. So no matter how great your advertisement acumen is,
Yeah.
doesn't matter anymore.
But yeah, I mean, pretty shocking to see this. Was pretty surprised by Zomato's non-apology, but we hope that when ads are being put out in the future, they keep certain things in mind and make better ads. We'll take a short break again at this point, and when we come back, Meghnad will have the last story for this week. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Hi, this is Cyrus Rogan Brocha, pyar se Rogues. I've come up with a brand new idea. It's a premium product called Club Cyrus Says. It's an offer open just for you. Let me tell you about the product. We've got exclusive Cock and Bull episodes just for you. That's right, just for you. That means others don't get to see it. Also, you get exclusive footage, extra bits, the uncut version of the interviews with celebrities. And these are huge celebrities, not small-time celebrities. Only the big guys come on the show. So you'll get the exclusive bits that nobody else gets. The extra tidbits, special stuff, uncensored stuff you don't want to put out. That's just for you. And for our audio listeners, you get special ad-free content and early access to interviews and sessions and podcasts which nobody else will get. You'll get it first. You're the first people. You're Neil Armstrong. You're Edmund Hillary. You're whoever discovered India. You're that. And by becoming an exclusive member of Club Cyrus Says, You get the power, we transfer the power to you, and you become the producers, and you will decide what content or what happens on that show. You are the masters, and we are your, we can't use words like that, people who work for the masters, basically. So guys, get in. Special audio features include, I forget, I can't remember what the
And we're back on page 10 with Meghnad, Niveditha, and me, Abbas. We have the last story for this episode from Meghnad. So, Meghnad, there's been some communal tensions in Uttarakhand. Please tell us about them and take it away.
So over the last 12 days, there have been some communal uprisings happening in Uttarakhand. Um, so Uttarkashi district in Uttarakhand, essentially many places there have been experiencing this. All of this started on May 26th when an incident happened where two men, they were seen with a 14-year-old girl
Mhm.
at trying to call an auto, and a passerby raised an alarm saying that something is off here, and the
Right.
two men fled. The police were called in, and based on the descriptions given by the girl, these two men were arrested on a charge of kidnapping. Now, these two men are called Ubaid Khan and Jitendra Saini. The investigation is still on. We don't know too much details about what happened after that. But the
Hmm.
point being that they are being charged with kidnapping, right? So this happened a day after. So 26th the incident, 27th this happens.
Right.
What ended up happening is that they were picked up from their hometown of Purola,
Hmm.
this town called Purola in Uttarakhand, Uttarkashi district of Uttarakhand. There, after they were picked up, some right wing elements came in and turned this into a love jihad conspiracy, because one of the men was Muslim, right?
Right.
So they turned it into like a love jihad conspiracy, and
Hmm.
they put out a call asking all Muslims in the area to essentially prove that they are a part of that area. So they
Okay.
don't want any outsiders to come in which are doing incidents like these, right?
Hmm.
So then love jihad and land jihad was raised again. The That's the talking point for the right
Right.
wing
Yeah.
in most places, conspiracies.
Hmm.
And on the basis of those and this incident, there were many protests that started happening, right? The protests turned violent. A bunch of shops were closed down, Muslim shops primarily. That escalated over the next few days, and
Hmm.
now the Bajrang Dal, the VHP, and some other right wing groups, Hindu Yuva Vahini, etc., they have given out a call asking all Muslims in the area to vacate their shops by 15th, or
Hmm.
else, and then they don't say
Hmm.
what happens after that, right? 15th, which is, we are recording this on the 12th.
Right.
15th is when they have been given the deadline. Yeah.
Also, isn't 15 supposed to be a Mahapanchayat?
So yeah, so the reason, so they have given that as the deadline. There's going to be a Mahapanchayat to discuss these issues of
Right.
basically crime is what they're saying. So
Hmm.
essentially the whole kidnapping thing, etc., fed into the whole love jihad thing, and now
Hmm.
they're portraying it as a conspiracy by Muslims in general to lure Hindu women into the fold, and etc. You know
Right.
how
Right.
that goes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um so what has happened is that because of this, so there were posters put out
Hmm.
outside Muslim shops saying that you need to vacate this and your home by the 15th, or else, right? Now these posters came out of nowhere apparently, according to reports,
Hmm.
according to district people, etc. uh, and the police is saying that they are investigating this matter about who put up these posters, who is responsible for this, and strict action will be taken. The
Hmm.
chief minister has also said that strict action will be taken against the perpetrators, etc., who are causing
Hmm.
violence.
Right.
The administration has also said that Muslims shouldn't be afraid and they shouldn't leave town, but that local Muslims are actually saying that their own BJP Prabhari, who is a person called Jahid Malik, right?
Hmm.
He left. He's their
Okay.
district in charge, right?
Right.
He
Right.
had to abandon his shop and leave,
Hmm.
right? So it's bizarre. The situation there is very tense right now. The protests and the action which these right wing groups have taken that has spread to Dunda, Barkot, Bhatwari, and Chinyalisur, a few other villages and towns in the
Right.
district.
Right.
And about 40 shops, 40 families have basically gone away
Left. Yeah.
from Purola and
Yeah.
other areas, the other
Mm,
villages there.
mm,
A bunch of Hindu residents have actually tried to shield their tenants. So
okay.
landlords were asked by these groups to ask their Muslim tenants to get out.
Right.
But some have actually stood by and said that no, these people have been
Mm,
living there for 3 decades, four
mm,
decades, and
mm,
I'm not going to kick them out.
mm,
But
mm,
that's
mm.
far and few. Again,
Right.
some reports are coming up which are very positive in nature, and then there
Right.
is this which is also happening.
Mm, mm, mm.
But yeah, thoda
Are there
escalation ho
any
raha
are there any specific leaders, religious leaders or political leaders who've supported these calls for essentially kicking Muslims out?
So BJP Uttarakhand, the party
Hmm.
unit, they have
Hmm.
condemned these incidents like
Okay.
outright. They have said that this
Okay.
is not what we want. This shouldn't
Right.
happen, right?
Right.
Um, Local Muslims, but having said that, local Muslims have said that we still don't trust this. Like, I mean,
Correct.
what
Yeah. Yeah.
the ye has that has been given out because
Mm.
the yeah, Niv, what you were saying?
I was just going to ask you because their BJP leader had to flee also. That's why they don't trust him.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
is that man also Muslim? The BJP
Yeah,
leader and their
yes, he's a Muslim, and his brother also runs a tailoring shop in the area. So he has left with his family. His brother is about to leave as well.
Right.
so
So
don't they have
this
any security in
no,
that?
so I was coming to that. This essentially for me means one of two things.
Hmm.
One is he himself is so scared of the situation that he just fled when he had the chance. The other is maybe he was tipped off by
Hmm.
someone somewhere saying,
Yeah.
"Okay, you leave, and then we'll like the rest that's going to follow is going to be ugly."
Hmm.
So neither of those situations is ideal or good.
Yeah.
Idea.
So yeah.
But
Um,
police deployment wise, Niv, so the law enforcement first they arrested the two men very next day,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they have
Hmm.
been putting out calls saying, "Ki, look, this is not love jihad. This is not anything of that sort. These people were kidnapping charge, right?"
Hmm.
Hmm.
The fact that the second man was Hindu is somehow been completely ignored.
Completely
But
forgotten. Yeah.
Yeah.
also the other thing is there is fake news going around that both of the men were Muslims. So
Right.
that is what
Hmm.
the problem was. Like later, the
Mhm.
guy was identified as one is Hindu and one is Muslim. But the rumors when
So
they
this sounds
started,
like propaganda, which is probably why like the person fled because they know that something is up. Like a single person can't do this. This is like done by a group
Yeah,
of
so I
a lot
mean,
more
yeah,
powerful people.
we've seen this before, right, Meghnad, in a lot of incidents like this, whether it's kidnapping, whether
Hmm.
it's usually there is a young woman involved, and
hmm.
love jihad just comes out of nowhere because that's just used an excuse to basically impinge on the minority
Hmm.
population there. Um, Uttarakhand already has a BJP government there. um uh, what what might be the reason for this now? Is a neighboring state going to elections, or is this just also the love jihad narrative? I feel in the last six
Hmm.
months or so has suddenly spiked. There was of course that movie Kerala Story, which was endorsed by the prime minister and other BJP leaders, and then suddenly, whether it's TV debates, whether it's online discourse, the love jihad narrative is suddenly gaining momentum. It seems like it's going to
Hmm.
be like the primary thing that Muslims are going to be attacked for till the next election cycle.
So one is I feel like even if there is no election coming up, even if there is nothing coming up, I feel
Mm,
like these sort of issues are brought up to keep a lot of people busy who would have
right.
otherwise
Hmm.
like looked at other things
Mm,
like
mm,
their sad lives, right? But the other thing is, like I was looking up Purola in general, right? I wanted
mm,
to see if there were other incidents that have
mm,
happened like this. So in 2013, a Muslim-owned shop was attacked by a Hindu mob, right?
mm.
And this was based on a rumor of religious conversion that the
Okay.
shop owner was involved in that.
Mm,
And in
mm,
2016, a man was killed during a communal clash. Now, I was not
mhm,
able to get like perfect details, but it was
mm.
related to love jihad, right?
Okay.
Matlab, again, when I use love jihad, please understand
In
conspiracy
quotes.
of love
Yeah,
jihad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, these are sort of issues in Uttarakhand that we saw when I went to cover the elections way back in 2019. Um, I feel no, not 2019 now, which is Uttar Pradesh के साथ जो elections हुआ था
Right. 2021, I think.
2021, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw this as a big problem in Uttarakhand in general, right?
Okay.
So it is very divisive because you remember we spoke about this, the Dharam Sansad. Uh,
Right.
Dharam Sansads happen in Uttarakhand very often, right?
Hmm.
Like in Haridwar, there was one, etc. And one of the people who was a part of that Dharam Sansad has also given out some statements to the extent of saying that all Muslims should vacate the area, right?
Okay. Hmm.
Again, so this whole
I have a
thing.
question. Sorry to
Hmm.
interrupt you. Is there any action being taken against these guys who put out these videos?
So yeah, so that's what I was coming to. So like basically right now the law enforcement is responding by putting a curfew.
Okay.
They are essentially taking out the posters and they are saying that we are trying to track down the people who are posting these.
Hmm.
Faith on the administration and the police is very low currently,
Right. Right.
because no results have come out of it.
Hmm.
um, I have to also say that Supreme Court had said that there should be Zomato cognizance taken of all communal incidents that happened around the country
Hmm.
in April this year.
Okay.
So, but on that front, I didn't find any particular reports which said that FIRs have been filed against the people who are doing these communal incidents or sparking a mob or
Right.
making these statements, for example.
Right.
Nothing has been done on that front yet.
Okay. Niv, anything you want to add?
No, I think you should add
No, I
something to
mean,
this.
like I said, we especially in villages and small towns, we are seeing this pattern emerge
Mm.
where an incident happens and suddenly, like you said, these flyers come up which warn shopkeepers to vacate their shops or
Yeah.
vacate their houses. I actually saw a few videos of those of shops being broken down, and in some of those, at least, and this is not a generalization, but in some of the videos it seems like the police were just mere spectators. They were not really
Hmm.
acting upon or trying to arrest these hooligans. And I mean, it was a huge mob of people who was doing this, so even the law and order can only go so far.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, I don't know what to do about this. I don't have a
Yeah.
solution.
No, there's no solution for this. This
Yeah.
is, I
One
don't
thing
know.
I have to point out, like in a very real sense, I'll just tell you like a small story. So in West Bengal, we were covering this one area where elections were on, and
Mm.
we had heard that there is some sort of clash happening in a particular polling booth. So we
Hmm.
had gone there, right? And
Mm.
there we found out that there's like a clear division between a Hindu area and a Muslim area, and
Mm.
basically some fight had happened which was escalating into a clash,
Mm.
like Hindus against Muslim.
Mm.
uh, Shuvendu Adhikari came in and he gave some statement, so he was basically also inciting the whole situation, right?
Right, right.
What we saw there was that, so there was me, my team, and there were a few police people, right?
Mm.
But there were two giant mobs which were just raring to go at each other, right?
Mm.
And think about it, like in a situation like these, if there are like five policemen there, some
Yeah.
reporters, and there are
Mm.
like mobs of hundreds of people,
Mm.
in a
Mm.
lot of places police actually also cannot do anything,
Correct. Yeah.
right, when it
Yeah.
goes out of control.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
not saying it happened in this situation.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
not, I'm prefacing
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
I also saw the videos.
Mm.
Maybe there was force, maybe there wasn't force, I can't
Mm. Mm.
say how much there was. But
Mm.
there can be situations where the police actually lets the mob vent out, as
Mm.
long as there is no murder happening. uh,
Right.
like they will destroy property, etc., they will
Yeah.
calm
Yeah.
down, they'll
Yeah.
go home,
Yeah.
and then they will try to do like flag marches, they will try to bring
Mm.
peace in the area, they'll start doing peace talks between the two
Mm.
mobs,
Mm.
etc. That happens afterwards, right?
Mm.
So that's a little nuance that I wanted to add here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, but
Uh,
you.
I don't know. I'm in two minds.
Mhm.
When I see stuff like this, and I'm like, this is not going anywhere. It's only going to
Hmm.
get a lot worse before it gets better.
Mm.
Will it get better? I don't know how many decades it will
Hmm.
take.
Mm.
I think stuff like this, when it happens, like the Muzaffarnagar riots come to my mind, and I think they happened in 2011, and there was a huge chunk of the population in the village, Muslim population, that left and just never came back, because
Mm.
like they are scared for their life that when they come back, they will face the
Hmm.
same kind of violence again,
Yeah.
which is really sad when you force someone out of their house and they're so scared that they never come back. There's
Mm.
also that Akhlaq incident where he was lynched
Hmm.
for eating meat which was supposed to be beef, which was then proved was not beef. I think Akhlaq's family also left that the house that they used to live in. But I still remember Akhlaq was at some TV debate and some anchor was asking him what he feels, and he still said that he had faith in the judiciary and he still feels India is a country
Hmm.
worth living. So I'm like, dude, this guy lost his brother. He was lynched. He
Hmm.
was witness to his lynching, and he's still saying that. So
Mm.
us living in this privileged perch,
Yeah.
but do I feel less safer than I did 5 or 6 years ago? I would say yes,
Mm.
because again I was in this bubble that, oh, I'm an English speaking urban elite. No matter how bad things get, it only affects the villagers or the poor Muslims. Now it's not the same, and I always have this sense that eventually they are coming for me.
Hmm.
But I hope things get better. There are signs of optimism here and there, but yeah, the when violence happens, it's very visceral. And like I said, the whole love jihad conspiracy is being given legitimacy, more and more legitimacy every
Hmm.
single day. Like, I
Mm.
honestly believe people have the majority community of this country has actually started believing that Muslims are out there seducing women and taking them away and selling them off to ISIS, which is a
Hmm.
bizarre thing even
Yeah.
if you just think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what to do about this. I don't have money to move out. I'll just leave it at that.
The other side to this
And
is people
honestly,
writing really long threads about how sexy Muslim men are. Like, oh, they've been
yeah, that
taught.
only goes so far in
Yeah.
changing anything. So yeah, I want my country to thrive. I want everybody. It should be an environment where everybody should be able to thrive.
Yeah.
And again, we are sitting in AC rooms and speaking in English, whereas the people who are suffering this are on a completely different level, and we
Mm.
cannot put ourselves in their shoes.
Shoes. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that was a very poignant and sad end to an episode. We spoke about technology and how
Should
board.
we have ended with that? No.
I don't
No.
know,
I
Yeah.
think
but
I think this is a good ending.
yeah,
Roller
I
coaster. Roller
roller
coaster
coaster.
episode.
Yeah,
It's been
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
I hope things get better. Is all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sure. All of us hope
yeah.
things get better
On that note,
for
that
everyone.
brings us to the end of this particular episode. Niv, before we wrap up, anything you want to plug where people can find you on social media? Please go ahead.
I only have a YouTube channel and Instagram, so you can find me at Niv Prakasam and niv.prakasam on Instagram.
All right. Meghnad, anything you want to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter on me Meghnad. You can follow me on Instagram on Meghdadis. You can watch some of the reels that I've been doing. I've been doing reels recently on educational stuff. Uh, and you might think it's political, but it's not. It's educational. So please, Instagram only promotes such things. So I will do those things. And you can also check out my other show, Explain Like I'm 10, which is on the same feed. Thank
Yeah.
you.
In fact, yeah, I would like to recommend the episode that me, Meghnad, and Nikhil were on, which is "What is Liberalism." I think it was
Yeah.
a pretty healthy discussion. So you can check that out on this very YouTube channel and podcast feed. And my name is Abbas. You can follow me on Twitter at Abbas Momin and Abbas Momin88 on Instagram. Thank you for watching this episode or listening to this episode till the very end. We'll see you next week with a new panelist and some new topics. Till then, bye bye.
Bye.
IVM.